Hi, my name is Michael Zhang. I'm a solutions architect specializing in storage management and data protection, working here at AWS. In my role, I assist customers from various industries in addressing their business challenges, and many of those challenges involve data protection. So I'm excited to be hosting this session today, which is intended to help you understand the different way you can design data protection for your business. To begin with, we're going to look at the data growth trend and cover key data protection metrics. Then we will look at the common data protection patterns and requirements and how we can address them, leveraging tools and features offered by AWS. At the end, I'll share relevant resources that you can access to further improve your data protection strategy. You may wonder, what is the current trend of data growth? Well, let's have a look. From the very beginning of humanity to the year 2003, only half a zettabyte of data was created. In 2013, it took just 2 days to generate the same amount of data. Data growth has been increasing exponentially ever since. As of 2018, the global data volume was estimated to be around 33 zettabytes. According to IDC, this number is projected to grow nearly 5.3 times to 181 zettabytes by 2025. To put that into perspective, 1 zettabyte is equivalent to 1 trillion gigabytes. That is a lot of data. So why is this important? Well, the trend presents a significant challenge to CIOs, storage administrators, and business of all sizes in all industries. Designing and deploying a reliable and comprehensive data protection strategy is now more complex than ever. So what is the data protection strategy? Well, a data protection strategy focuses on durability, resilience, security and controls, and is imperative for business continuity. However, building a resiliency on premises is challenging, as you must overcome single point of failure by doubling up on resources and expand to multiple data centers to achieve level of availability, redundancy, and recoverability required. It is laborious and expensive, with limited agility, making recovery difficult. How can AWS help in terms of data protection? Customers around the globe are using AWS data protection in diverse ways for outcomes, such as protect intellectual properties and trade secrets, protecting customer information, automating tasks, assisting with scale as your business grows, and it easily integrates with hundreds of AWS services whilst also inherited global security and compliance controls. At AWS, we are a partner you can trust to deliver cloud-scale solutions. For our customers, data protection is a process of safeguarding business-critical data from corruption, compromise, or loss, and it providing capability to restore tested and trusted data to a functional state while meeting the RTO and RPO requirements. Let's look into the key metrics when it comes to data protection and disaster recovery. The Recovery Point Objective, or RPO, measures how much data can be lost in case of a disaster. For example, if RPO is 1 hour and a disaster occurs at 12 p.m., the system should recover data from before 11 a.m. for minimized data loss. Financial customers who track transactions aim for the lowest RPO. The Recovery Time Objective, or RTO, measures how quickly the system should recover after a disaster. For instance, if the RTO is 4 hours and disaster occurred at 12 p.m., the system should be fully functional by 4 p.m. Media customers who need uninterrupted content delivery seek the lowest RTO. This objective shouldn't be set just by the IT team. It is important to involve business team while setting the RTO and RPO goals. Now we have looked at the metrics and what are the technology involved when creating data protection strategies. Data protection strategies are designed around 2 main technologies, data backup and data replication. Backups give you the capability to restore lost data in the events of failure. Backups also allow you to roll back to the previous point in case any change you made caused system malfunction. Some compliance regulations require organizations to keep backup for a certain period of time. Additionally, in case of malicious events such as virus, malware, and ransomware attacks, you can restore your data to a previous state. On the other hand, data replication creates a copy of data in a remote location, reducing the risk of data loss and improve availability. This also increases resiliency since your data is away from the fault zones. Data replication also helps balance the load on production systems, and it reduces RTO and RPO in case of failure on your primary data sites. Let's quickly refresh on how AWS provides resiliency for our global infrastructure. To provide data resiliency, at AWS, our design principle is to eliminate single point of failure in the underlying physical infrastructure. We have 31 regions worldwide, each with multiple availability zones, and each of our 96 availability zones are designed to operate independently and provide a full isolation boundary. A fault in one AZ should never affect operations in another AZ within the region. So AZ independence is one of the foundations to how we build data resilient storage service infrastructure. Along with that, we recommend disaster recovery best practices such as game day testing using services such as Amazon Elastic Disaster Recovery and AWS Backup. We design resilience into our service that are regionally available and AZ independent. These services build on our reliable global infrastructure and add service level security, durability, and resiliency capabilities, such as object versioning, volume snapshots, file replication, and real-time monitoring that can trigger event detection and response automation as warranted. Let's look at some common data protection patterns our customers use. In listening and talking with customers, many of the common data protection patterns we see is backing up data in the same region. In other scenarios, customers maintain an extra copy in a different region or AWS account. Some customers run local backups and only replicate a subset of data elsewhere to maximum business continuity. Customers leverage file system features to take snapshots of production data on local storage, perform replication of data between storage systems, or create a secondary copy of data at a remote location. For customers who store data on object storage, they can preserve multiple versions of objects, leverage compliance hold features to enforce data immunity and deletion protection, or they can replicate objects within the same location or to remote locations. The protection of backup themselves is also important. By creating immutable backups, the backups are protected against modification or deletion. Looking at the AWS storage portfolio, we have the most complete storage offerings, delivering block, object, and file storage service. We also provide a range of service to protect your data and improve data continuity. Such service includes AWS Backup, AWS Elastic Disaster Recovery, and AWS Resilience Hub. AWS provides storage services with tools that can automatically replicate data to other regions, such as EFS replication, identify insufficient data protection policies with Amazon S3 storage lanes, provide crash consistency snapshots on Amazon FSx, and you can save up to 75% on snapshots costs with Amazon EBS. These features are all contribute to an actionable plan. Today, we're going to focus on features and capabilities of the file, block, and object storage and AWS backup service. Let's dive into some common scenarios and requirements to protecting data stored on file, block, and object storage. We often hear our customer asking for the capability to recover data from 1 hour ago and be able to recover that within a few minutes. Some customers have needs for data to be available in near real time in a different availability zone. Some customers require production data to be replicated to a different region once a day, whilst most customers have daily backup requirements, and the backups will be retained for a certain period of time and can be used to restore data within hours. How can we address all these requirements? Looking at some of the data protection features for file system and block storage. With snapshots and shadow copies, it provides the ability of near-instant recovery of deleted or modified files. Native file system replication is mainly used for DR purposes to have availability of file system in a secondary location. Cross-file system replication is commonly used to securely replicate your data into a different storage type or mechanism. When your primary storage system becomes unavailable, you can retrieve your data from an alternate storage type. Block replication is a process of data being replicated off your EBS volume that is attached to your compute instance. As for backup, it provides an offline secondary copy of your data, and it can be kept for long term. Each of these features provides different level of RPO and RTO. You can choose and combine these features to protect your data to align with your business requirements. This diagram shows how each data protection method is implemented across different levels of failure. Snapshots are normally taken locally to provide shorter RTO and RPO capabilities. However, they can provide limited protection in the events of an AZ failure. Various replication technologies can be utilized to improve resilience in case of AZ failure and suitable for data and workloads that have longer RTO and RPO requirements. By leveraging all these technologies, we provide a flexible approach to data protection that can be tailored to your specific requirements. Coming back to the requirements we looked at previously, if your data need to be restored from 1 hour ago within minutes, you can use local snapshots. To get your data available near real time in another AZ, you should look at the file system that have built-in features for regional or multi-AZ replication. To have your data replicated to another region, you could use file systems which have native replication or configure cross-file system replication by using Amazon Data Sync, or if data reside on EBS, you can leverage block-based replication through AWS DRS. For backup, you can use AWS Backup Service to schedule daily backups of your data on file systems. Let's look at some common scenarios on object storage with Amazon S3. Here are some common requirements from customers who store data in S3 buckets. Customer wants to save any change they have made on S3 objects and be able to restore individual objects back to its previous state. Customer also wants to ensure their S3 objects are available real-time in another AZ, or having object replicated to a different AWS region or account. Same as file, where here customers want to back up their S3 objects and be able to restore within hours when needed. Amazon S3 is designed with security and data protection in mind, and it offers a wide range of built-in features to help customers protect their digital assets in S3 buckets. With versioning, you can instantly recover deleted or modified objects and maintain versions. This feature ensures that data is never lost or overwritten accidentally. You can easily retrieve any previous version of objects in case of an error or data loss. S3 Object Log is a feature that ensures compliance and prevents the deletion of objects. This feature adds an extra layer of protection to your data, making your data immutable for a specific period of time, which can be important for regulatory or legal purposes. S3 replication provides automatic and asynchronous copying of objects across S3 buckets within the same region or across region. This provides a level of redundancy that can protect against data loss in case of a disaster or other events. Finally, you can configure automatic backups for S3 objects to meet your requirements of maintaining secondary copy of your S3 objects, as well as long-term data retention. Now, let's look at how to address all these requirements we mentioned in the previous slide. If you need to preserve S3 objects and be able to restore individually, you can leverage S3 versioning. If you need S3 objects to be available in another AZ, well, your data is automatically replicated across all AZs in the same region by default. And this feature is available on all storage classes except for S3 one-zone infrequent access tier. What if you have requirements to replicate S3 objects to another AWS region or account? In this case, you can use S3 sim region or cross-region replication feature. As for backup, you can leverage AWS backup for S3 to achieve daily backup and restore your data in hours. Now, we have protected our primary data with backups or replications. Let's go through how we can protect these backups. We have mentioned backup quite a few times. With the recent increase in ransomware attacks, we have seen that the customers are asking more about how to protect their backup from malicious activities. Some customers have legal and compliance requirements that their backup to be stored without the ability to delete them. We also see requirements for backups to be stored in another AWS region or account. Additionally, customers ask for access control over their backups. Here are some AWS backup features that can be utilized to meet all those requirements. Identity and access management. AWS backup seamlessly integrate with IAM services. Customers can define IAM rules and policies to allow only authorized users and services having access to your backup resources. Backup vault lock is commonly used in protecting against malicious or accidental actions such as deletion of backup or alteration of backup retention. A legal hold is an administrative tool that helps prevent backups from being deleted while under a hold. While the hold is in place, backups cannot be deleted, and lifecycle policies that would alter the backup status are delayed until the legal hold is removed. AWS Backup also provides cross-account or cross-region copies, which allow customers to create isolated copies of backup to prevent regional failure or account compromise. Looking back to the common scenarios for backup protection, if you need to protect backup against malicious activities, you can combine AWS IAM service with AWS Backup Vault Lock feature to create an immutable backup strategy with additional security and control over your backup resources. If you have a legal and compliance requirements on your backup, you can enable legal holds to preserve backups created by AWS Backup. With requirements that the backup must be stored in a different account or region, you can configure AWS Backup cross-account or cross-region to send a copy of backup to the account or region you designated. Whilst customers require strict access control over backups, leverage IAM to provide granular rule-based access control. We have talked about AWS Backup, what exactly AWS Backup is, and what does it offer to our customers. AWS Backup protects and restores data across AWS storage, compute, and database services, while providing advanced compliance capabilities. We have protected over an exabyte of customers' data by making sure it is secure and resilient against unexpected technology faults, human errors, or ransomware. A holistic data protection strategy should address resiliency, availability, visibility, and governance. We have talked about how AWS Backup helps our customer protecting their data locally. How does it benefit the customers who needs to keep a copy of backup in a different AWS region or account? Listening to our customers, we brought out the capability of cross-region and cross-account copy of backups. With this feature, you can schedule cross-region or cross-account copies to align with your business continuity and compliance requirements. With high demand on this service, we're expecting AWS Backup to be available in Melbourne region soon. Now, I have a local backup and I have a remote copy. How do I make sure these backups are immutable? Introducing AWS Backup Vault Log feature. It enforces immutable backups and provides an additional layer of defense that protects your backups against malicious or accidental actions. The vault lock is configured at the vault level. Once you enable the vault lock, no one can delete or make any change of your backup, not even the root user, which makes your backup truly immutable. You can enable vault lock by using AWS Backup API, CLI, SDK, or from AWS console. Now, I'd like to share some words from our customers. Same as many organizations, Atlassian have been leveraging the AWS backup service to automate their backup, restore, and disaster recovery processes, while also reinforcing their ransomware recovery strategy. We value Atlassian's significance as a customer and their trust in our services. Now, we have covered a lot about data protection requirements, service features, and design scenarios, and how to leverage all these services and features to suit your requirements. When designing data protection strategy, it is important to follow the shared responsibility model for resiliency. Much like security, resilience is a shared responsibility between AWS and the customers. AWS's responsibility is resilience of the cloud, ensuring that the infrastructure that runs all the services in the cloud is resilient. This infrastructure is composed of the hardware, software, networking, and facilities that runs AWS cloud services. AWS operates, manages, and controls the components from the hosting operating system and virtualization layer down to the resilience of the infrastructure. On the other hand, customers are responsible for the resilience in the cloud, which depends on the services that the customer selects. This determines the amount of configuration works that the customer must perform to achieve workload resilience. Bring together the services and features that matches different data protection requirements. As of today, snapshots can be created using Amazon FSS and EBS, while data replication is supported by FSS, EBS, EFS, and S3. AWS Data Sync can be utilized to replicate data across storage services or AWS regions. AWS Backup offers various features that you can leverage to protect your critical data and the backup themselves. S3 object lock can be utilized to achieve data immutability on S3 objects. I would suggest you to take a screenshot on this slide so that you can use it as a reference for your data protection strategy at a long term. In summary, always back up and secure your data. It is essential to have a clear understanding of your data protection requirements such as RTO and RPO. And then you can design solutions and strategies by leveraging AWS services and features to meet your data protection goals. As a best practice, perform regular testing on your backup and recovery processes. Come join the millions learning with AWS training and certification and accelerating their impacts. In the classroom or online at your own pace. Learn what you want, when you want, and how you need it. Visit Skill Builder, our online center, and explore over 600 free digital courses, hands-on labs, and role-based games. And when you're ready, discover industry-recognized AWS certifications that showcase your expertise and grow your career potential. Technologies make innovation possible, but it is people who will build a better tomorrow. Your time is now. Thank you for taking time attending this session today. We appreciate your participation and value your feedback. Please take a moment to complete the session survey as it will help us improve and enhance future events to better meet your needs and expectations. In closing off, I'm Michael Zhang. Thanks for watching.